Yes, I've been the pastor of that church since it organized, since it developed. We were meeting as a Bible study group and finally decided that we had enough people to have a church, and if we had a church, would I be the pastor? And there was no way I could say no. I had done some lay ministry training, so I was the only choice, really. But we've been very blessed. It's worked out well. But I needed further education so I could serve my congregation, because I was not educated for this, and I knew I needed that. And so ILT was the perfect answer, because I could stay with my congregation. I couldn't leave them to learn how to better serve them. That wouldn't work. So for me to be able to stay in my congregation and receive the training that I need has been perfect. And this was the answer. I was teaching biology at the community college. I was chair of the biology department. So people say God doesn't have a sense of humor. I think absolutely. I value education, and the lay ministry program that I went through was a 2-year program, but it's a very part-time program, and it certainly was not designed to create pastors. It's designed to help assist pastors. So I'm very thankful for that, because that got me started and that gave me a grounding and a starting place. But I knew I needed more education to serve my congregation the way they deserve to be served. Around for online programs, and I couldn't find any that were Lutheran that I could do, or that I didn't have to go to for part of the term or one semester or whatever. I mean, it just doesn't make sense for me to leave my congregation. So ILT fit the bill, and there was a conference in Odessa, and the church where this was. I was talking to him, and he said, "Oh, well, come, because there's an online program for Lutherans, and they're going to have a talk, so come to that." So I did, and it was perfect. I looked at what I could find online, and then I heard the speaker for ILT, and that's what. And it was the only thing that made sense, and it's the only thing that I didn't have to leave my congregation for a semester or whatever. I could do completely online, and that was important. Well, the best advantage is when I learn something really cool, I have an immediate audience that's a captive audience pretty much. On a Sunday morning, they're captive, and then I can share that information, so that's exciting. But also there's things I know that I need to know, because I've already been serving as a pastor. And so ILT feeds that, and there's an immediate place for me to ask questions and to seek guidance from. And so I think that, and I know it's not the traditional way to go, but it's the way God has moved in our church and in my life, and it's working. I can't imagine it being any better. Absolutely. Emails, phone calls, Skype, whatever we need to do. The concern I had when I started ILT, and my impression of online education, even though I have taught some online classes before, not with this setup, not quite this well done or this professional, but I thought about, I was worried about camaraderie between the students. How are you going to get to know your classmates when you only see them online? And those concerns were fruitless. I mean, we have a good camaraderie, and we can meet in the student lounge whenever we want to, or, we don't pass each other in the hall, so there's something missing on a more personal touch, because if I saw you in the hallway, I might say, "Hey, how are things going?" You go, "Well, I'm having a really bad day," or "Something's wrong." And we don't really do that in our interaction. But we have studied together online, we've studied together via the telephone, we've Skyped, we've emailed each other and helped each other or whatever. So that camaraderie does exist, and I'm glad to see them in person. And I have some good friends developed through that, even though they live many states away from me. Yeah, but even talking through questions for a test or studying for a test or something, and we can get maybe 2 of us or 3 or 4 of us, and we can come together and talk through questions or whatever, and then we can always call the professor or email them or whatever. Yeah, I don't have any problems, and email is easy because you check it when you get ready to check it, so that's a really easy way to communicate. But if we need to telephone, then that's fine, or even Skype, whatever we need to do. And they have all been very accessible and open and willing to speak with you when you have a question or a problem. Well, the coursework, the level of classes and the experience of the faculty, and the fact that some of them have served in churches, plus I think the fact that they're all from very different walks. They could be in very different places in the country, so they have a little bit different aspect, a little bit different take, and people are different in different parts of the country. And some of that, I think, is a strength, because that prepares all of us for wherever we may go. And their experience and their areas of expertise and their concern to prepare a pastor, to prepare you for ministry. I mean, they know that's why you're here, so that's what they're doing, and they're focused on that, and it's very helpful.
Okay. Do you feel like the coursework is challenging?
Absolutely. And I think that's another misconception about online programs, and I think there are probably online programs that are not very challenging, but ILT is not in that category. It's tough, and it's I think sometimes I'm a full-time pastor. I have a family. I think a little bit of the challenge is because I'm still in the community that I was in before, so my community commitments are still there. I've backed off on some of those, but I don't want to completely drop them while I'm in school. What was the original question?
Is it challenging?
Yes. So 3 classes for me is really one too many. I have to really buckle down to do that. And when I know I have a class that has extra heavy reading load, then I took 2. But it's not a walk through the park. It's challenging. You need to read a lot. You need to understand what you're reading and be able to discuss it or write about it. And that was another concern I had actually about online education, and that has not been an issue at all. The academic rigor is definitely there. Perfect advantage is one is I can stay home, and I don't think I can do it without my church's support. I can't do it without my family's support. But the fears that I had with online education have dissipated. They haven't been the case at all with ILT. And I have an education background. I was in education before I started ILT, so I thought at the time that my fears were solidly grounded, but ILT has proven that to be completely wrong. And now it was a question again.
What are the advantages of?
Yes. Being able to stay, my greatest advantage is being able to stay with my congregation while I'm in seminary. That's the greatest thing. And the second thing is I don't have to move away, and because I'm second career, so I have establishments and family and all that kind of stuff that would be a pick up and move, and I don't have to do that. And I can work it into my schedule. If I want to take one class and 5 classes the next semester, I have that option and just kind of plug away and get it done. But the convenience of being able to stay home was ultimate for me. If I couldn't do that, I couldn't go. Yeah, I think a biblical discipline as far as teaching and sharing that with the congregation. One thing that has kind of surprised me in seminary is that I have learned all of these incredibly wonderful, cool things that people have known my entire life, and they never bothered to tell me. So my congregation is probably tired of me because I tell them all of these things. And I teach a lot of Bible studies during the breaks from school because that's the only time I have to do them. And one time they said, I hope her classes start soon because she's wearing us out. But I think biblical teaching is what I like the most, and what I have learned better how to do, and now I feel like I have a little bit more ground to start from with those. How have I grown since I started ILT? There's no way to enumerate that. It's awesome. The theological depth. One thing I've really appreciated is being forced to think through issues that I would not force myself to think through. If you're going to have a discussion and write a paper and do some research. You find out some things, and you have to decide on issues maybe that you had just never thought about, things that you didn't know were an issue, and you find out theologically they are an issue, and now you have to come down on the side for that, and you have to be able to defend that. And I think that's incredibly important in seminary, so that when you're out in the field, when you're out in your ministry, you know where you stand. And without these classes and without going through what I've gone through in seminary, I would not have gone through those steps, and I would get to a point and realize that there's a controversy here, and I don't know where I stand on that because I haven't studied it.
Okay. Just to kind of round out the interview, what are your future hopes in ministry?
Well, when I finish ILT, I don't expect anything to change immediately in my life. I have my call, I have my congregation. I will be excited to have time to do some things that I have wanted to do but couldn't with school. So some things have been on hold, some more community involvement and things like that. And so I'm excited to move forward with that. And then beyond that, we'll just see what doors God's open. Well, I plug ILT a lot anyway, so that's an easy question. Have done that before because it has been so beneficial to me, and because I really couldn't leave to go to seminary. So anyone who's in that situation, and I certainly would tell them to check it out, even if they plan to go away to school somewhere, to at least check out ILT and see if it may work better for them, because it may. And if they have taken some classes someplace else, they can still transfer them into ILT and make that count, because I like the diversity from different instructors, and you get that at any place, but having some diversity in different backgrounds and maybe even different viewpoints, and I think that's healthy as a student to be exposed to all of that. Plus the convenience. I mean, you can't possibly beat the conveniences, having class in your own home.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's highly convenient.